Hey, welcome to a very special anniversary edition of Collection Connection. It was about 1 year ago that I uploaded the very first episode, and I am just so grateful for 23,000 subscribers. And what's that? If there's no K, it doesn't mean thousand. Well, then how many subscribers do I have? Let's see. Well, that's humbling.
Um, to me though,
Hey, and welcome to a Thursday Collection Connection, the game that's just an excuse to talk about records. So I play this with my brother, Plastic Eric from the Plastic Soundwave Cult. He does his moves, plays his plays on Mondays, and I do mine on Thursdays. So subscribe to both channels and keep up with us. So anyway, Eric's last play, he gave me Serial Killer Soundtrack by Green Jelly. And I had a perfect match, perfect connection for that. Because as he mentioned in his video, they were originally called Green Jello, but changed one letter of their name when Kraft threatened a lawsuit. And the band Poco was originally named Pogo, but they changed their name when Pogo cartoonist Walt Kelly sent them a cease and desist letter. And so they changed one letter of their name to avoid a lawsuit there. Unfortunately, I don't have any Poco. So then I thought maybe I would go with Tom and Jerry, which is the original name that Simon and Garfunkel released singles under. But as much as I wanted to do that, they just sort of decided to stop doing that. And there was no legal thing involved. They just decided not to do that anymore. So I decided to take a totally different tack. And I noticed, especially when Eric said that he liked the picture of Shit Man on the cover, and then listening to the album, I picked up on the fact that the cover featured cartoon characters, depictions of characters that were in the songs. There was the Cow God and the Three Little Pigs and someone on a motorcycle, I think. And so I thought, ooh, you know who has an album like that? It is the 1982 album from Madness, The Rise and Fall. Now, this is a great album. This is their fourth album. The ska, they were extremely ska when they started, 1979, One Step Beyond. And by this time, they were not nearly so ska, but still retained a lot of the buoyancy that came with ska music. And this is the album, The Rise and Fall, that has Our House on it, which is the only hit that they ever scored, the only big hit, top 10 hit that they ever scored in the U.S. Whereas in England, in their home, they were hit-making machines. They rivaled the Beatles with just the sheer number of singles that they pitched into the higher ends of the charts. So they were one of those bands that ended up being repackaged in form of collections. And their original albums were actually a little bit difficult to come by sometimes. And so I had waited. I had a couple of Madness hits collections, but I waited until 2010 until they finally did a nice reissue campaign of their original regular albums. And I got a handful of them then, including The Rise and Fall. Now, it's a big band, 7 members, and they are on the cover, although I couldn't find 100% confirmation of this. There seem to be some analogs that they are being characters from the songs. The MP seems to me to refer to Blue Skin Beast. There's a man looking in a mirror at his reflection, which refers to the song That Face. There's a man in brown face, which I'll get to in a second, which seems to be an analog for the song New Delhi. So I'm fairly sure, but I couldn't find confirmation of that explicitly. What I did find when I looked up information about the album cover was people noting the brown face. But I will say that everyone that I read that took exception to it seemed to be a white person taking offense on behalf of somebody who was not necessarily that offended themselves. So I'm not saying that that's a flat out truth as a general thing, but make of that what you will. I won't say anything more about it, but to acknowledge that it probably would not fly today. Anyway, the music is fantastic. So there is Our House. There is Tomorrow's Just Another Day, which I like better than Our House, frankly. There's Blue Skin Beast is a great song. It opens on the title track, Rise and Fall. And I think in general, side one is more consistent than side two. And this 2010 reissue is a nice 2-disc version that contains singles and B-sides that did not appear at the time on a record. So the concurrent singles were songs like House of Fun and Driving in My Car. So they're on here along with their B-sides. But yeah, it's a terrific record. And I had to retape this because the whole stupid thing was out of focus. And now we're going to see if I can edit it smoothly. Madness, House of Fun. They did kind of move beyond pure ska at this point, but still had that buoyancy. And this album has been described as being to the 80s what Kings for the Village Green Preservation Society was to the 70s. And I'm forgetting if it was released in the 60s or 70s. And Park Life, Blair's Park Life, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, was to the 90s. So kind of a portrait of life in England. And hopefully it's good listening. And I know you know quite a few Madness songs, Eric. And anybody else, give it a shot. I'll put a sample favorite up in the Collection Connection soundtrack playlist, which you can click on at the end. And that's all I have. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.